Hi there, welcome back. I'm so glad that you're here. We have so much to talk about because as we dive into more about the autonomic nervous system, we discover more about why we do what we do and how to correct the behaviors that are working against us and get them to work for us. So again, the podcast is called Guiding You Home because I'm trying to get you to have this self-awareness, come back home to who you were before you were conditioned to believe you had to be something else in order to be accepted, validated, loved, or contributory. Okay, so we're going to just dive in. We're going to get into episode 48. Episode 48, we're talking about the wisdom of the body. The wisdom of the body is that we tend to just let this run behind us, like our brain, Controlzilla, is out in front, large and in charge, controlling, manipulating, making sure everything turns out just the way we need it to, so that we preserve our image, our feelings, our self, our sense of self. When we are doing that, we're just doing all this managing and controlling and manipulating of things that are not actually ours to control or manipulate. We learned how to do that in the past. And so our nervous system, when it was an itty bitty baby, it was a blank slate. It learned what was safe. I am loved. I am secure. I am nurtured. I am guided. I am supported. And it learned what was not safe. I've been abandoned, I've been neglected, I can't get the love I need, there seems to be scarcity and lack all around, and that puts us in survival mode. It leads us to having thoughts that are coming from fear. Oh no, I can't figure out how to get my mom or my dad to love me. Oh no, I don't have a handbook for when they're upset and they're looking directly at me for why they are upset. Right? We're trying to figure out how to stabilize that emotional harmony. But if we have lived at a place that has been always about troubleshooting the problem ahead of time, right? Preempting the struggle, if you will, then we have spent a lot of time exhausting our energy, focused on what we don't want. Our brain is focused on what we don't want. I don't want mom and dad to be upset with me. I don't want my boss to be disappointed with my performance. I don't want my spouse to think that I'm messy and can't recover. Whatever it is we don't want, we're generally focused on that. And so Controlzilla, our brain, is so busy controlling everything and all the outcomes outside of us, usually things on the outside of our control, that we don't listen to the body anymore. She's just back there flapping in the wind, trying to hold on for dear life because you're just going to plow through life without stopping to think about what it's doing for you or against you or to you. Now, don't get me wrong here. Life is happening for us. The universe, if you will, doesn't want us to get bored. So every day we have all these opportunities to practice stabilizing our emotion through our autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is hardwired to keep you safe, but the autonomic nervous system starts in the brain. That's what's hardwired, is your brain. And it has learned from all the little cues that it's picked up in the past, especially when it was being programmed, your software was being programmed as a baby and a toddler and a little child, a kindergartner and a first grader and a second grader, like we're just taking in all this information and energy around us, trying to navigate what's safe, what's not safe. In my particular instance, it was not safe to be me ever. Like to be bright and shiny, I was still going to be looked at as a problem. So I learned to disappear. I learned to be invisible. I learned to not listen to the yucky gut soup I was feeling all of the time. In fact, I didn't even know I had anxiety until about 5 years ago. I'm almost 60. So 5 years ago, I was like, anxiety? What is that? And I discovered that it is the nervous system, the thoughts we think about flipping the switch on, oh, this is not a safe situation because it has a hint, a flavoring, or a sense of something that happened in my childhood. And I actually relate that into the now experience. And when that happens, I react. I fight against it or defend myself, over-explain, overshare. I run from it. I disappear. I go away quickly, quietly, and nobody even knows where I went. I fawn. I'll become anything you need me to be. Or I freeze. I don't know what to do. I've been blindsided. Suddenly we're not playing by the same rules anymore. Right? There are so many of those things that our nervous system does, and it does it to keep us safe. It keeps us from walking out in front of a moving car. It keeps us from jumping off of buildings. It gives us a sense of our mortality, right? So it's not a bad thing. It's just that our body's wisdom of, it's missing the cues of, I'm full, so I'm going to stop eating now, right? Instead, we're eating as a coping strategy because all of the exhausting thoughts we've had, all of the energy we've burned trying to navigate our environment so we can stay safe, we're like, all done. Can't think of another thought. Don't want to think about it. I don't know. And then it's cookie, cake, ice cream at 10 o'clock at night. It's a coping strategy, right? But our bodies are like, oh, here we go, coping strategy. Okay, we're going to overload our bloodstream late at night and expect miracles over time, right? We have to listen to the wisdom of our body. It's not just about eating. It's not just about exercise. It's also trusting our inclinations, trusting our intuition, listening to our gut instinct. This is so important because information is coming at us all the time, but also information is coming from us all the time. And until we stop and we're like, what is that yucky gut soup that I feel? Oh, my brain thinks that I'm in trouble. Can you get in trouble as an adult? The answer is no. You cannot get in trouble. I mean, you can get in trouble with the law by speeding or breaking the laws of the land, but you can't get in trouble with other people when you're living your life and doing your best. They might be like, oh my gosh, you made such a mess in the house. And your little self that got lost in the past is like, oh no, my parent is upset with me. When maybe they're just having big emotions and they're allowed to have them. And you get to manage what's going on in here. Oh, actually, I can't be in trouble. So if I can't be in trouble, then I can come back to the present moment and listen to my intuition. Oh, they need to be heard. They just need to be seen. They need to have big emotions, and it's not about me because I'm not the person they're having the wound of origin with. That was in them before I met them. When you can start to sort this out, start to understand the thoughts that you think about trigger an emotional tidal wave in your body. All the chemical soup, the hormones, and good and bad, right? There's no such thing as a bad hormone, but it's all information. The stress hormones is information, and the good adrenaline and all the good hormones, right? They're all working for us. If we can separate out the thoughts that we think and how it affects our body's ability to communicate to us, this is right, stay in alignment with that. This is not yours. Don't match their energy. You can start to be right here with you. You're going to figure out some deep stuff, and there's going to be some big healing happening, right? Being right here and following your intuition, following your inclinations, right? So when you are intuitive, when you are sensing what's going on with you, we'll know instantly that person's problem is not with me. I don't have to allow my emotional state in my body, which stores fat, like it hangs on for dear life. It has high stress. It's an energetic, exhaustive, emotional state of being in low frequency, that low frequency. Oh my gosh, she's on the warpath. I got to watch out, or I've got to disappear, or I've got to fight back, or I've got to freeze because I don't have a plan for this. When you're doing that kind of stuff, just all you need to do is notice it. Notice what you're thinking about, because those are, like, we think so many things during the day, we don't even know what we're thinking about, but how it plays out in your body is it shuts off your intuition. It shuts off your natural inclination to know which direction is for you. It shuts off our natural inclination to have clarity and to trust that we can take care of ourselves, or that we know what's best for ourselves. And honestly, probably 80% of the time we're doing what's best for somebody else because it makes us feel safe. They'll like us. We avoid judgment, abandonment, rejection. We just change what we are and what we need so that we can stay safe. But your body's always talking to you, right? Your creations lie inside of you. Your genius, your intellect, your infinite intelligent intellect, it's within your body. And your body's always talking to you. Have you ever had like a knuckle not feel good? It's like, oh, it's not all the knuckles. It's just like, I don't know, in my thumb. It's like that knuckle, right? And the typical response when you're like, why is my knuckle hurt? Oh, it must be arthritis. It's like, really? You think that knuckle is older than all the other knuckles? Like, why would you have arthritis in one knuckle randomly? Wasn't an injury. It's just you notice, hey, that's sort of sore. Like there's something going on there. That's energy getting stuck in the body. That's you harnessing or harboring negative thoughts, negative beliefs, negative habits of thought in your body. Your body's like, sad knuckle. I know, it's kind of funny. And different emotions are trapped in different places in your body. I think there's like 24 emotions that can be trapped in your skin. And it manifests in skin conditions. I have a rash. I have eczema. I have something going on. I have shingles. I have something presenting outwardly because I've had these thoughts that are going against my best interest. They are not working for me. They're working against me because I'm trying to protect myself and keep myself safe in all the ways that my nervous system knows how to fight, run, freeze, or become anything you need me to be. Your nervous system is always at work. Now, you don't have just those 4 options. You can actually go into a vagal state, and vagal is peace and harmony. I'm safe, all is well. That is our goal, is to be in that state of peace and harmony. I am safe, all is well. Their big emotions are not about me. What does that do in your body? That allows you access to your inner guidance system. It allows you access to hear your intuition say, this is good for you, this is not good for you. It allows you to hear your inclination to set a boundary or to remove a boundary or to set a bigger boundary, right? It keeps you safe in a healthy way rather than in a way that is just fighting against what you don't want. So again, when you're listening to your body, you will have sensations. You will have hints and clues that something's going on in your body. I know people that have anxiety and panic attacks, and they're so high functioning because it's so normal for their nervous system to be on fire, that they're cracking jokes and they're doing their job and they're earning money and they're, taking care of their family. And at the end of the day, they just want to die because they haven't learned to manage their level of understanding that they are safe. They're not back in their childhood when trauma was being introduced to them, when the lack of love, the lack of nurturing, the struggle to survive was introduced. And anything that has, a sense, a flavoring, or a hint of something that happened in the past that we didn't know how to navigate as a little child, if it's happening now, we just get those body feelings all over again. A yucky gut soup, I'm in trouble, heart palpitations. Like we discover that our bodies are communicating to us if we will take the time to stop and listen. Here's one example. So the story I brought into life with me was the same story that my mother had. I mean, if your mother can't love you, who can, right? So that was the story I brought into my adult life with me, is that you have to work hard, earn love, and most likely it's still not going to be enough. I brought that into my adulthood. And so at one point I was thinking to myself when an event happened and I was like, oh, I wasn't included. It lined up with my story of I'm not lovable and I didn't do enough to earn an invitation. And every time I thought that, my heart would flump. Have you had a heart flump before where it's just like kind of goes crazy for 2 minutes or 2 beats? It's just like boop, 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 boop. And then you're like, what was that? Mine actually feels like someone's like thumping me, right? It's just like thump. And it was the thought that I had that actually brought on a physical reaction in my heart. And a worse thought than I wasn't invited or I wasn't included or I was forgotten is the idea of abandonment. That's even a worse thought that triggers that little child in the past that was left in a dark room by herself without anyone to co-regulate with. And when that happens and the fear of abandonment comes into thought that turns into a physical manifestation, I would get a sharp pain in my heart. And it wasn't until one day I was very conscious of the thought I was thinking, telling a victim story, which is wounded feminine energy hard at work, telling a victim story about how I was not loved. I wasn't wanted, needed, appreciated, or loved. And I had a sharp pain in my heart. I was like, wait, what? Wow, was that a coincidence that I thought that thought and I felt that pain? And then I was like, let's do it again. Let's just test. And then I thought the same thought, only worse. It was like, I'll never belong anywhere because I'm just so unlovable. Ooh, sharp pain again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have control of that. I'm doing that. Game changer. Game changer, folks, because what you learn from something like that is you are in control of how you feel. Ta-da! Now, I'm not saying it's easy to catch yourself in the act all the time. Because as I said a million times, seeing yourself is the hardest person to see. But what I am saying is that if you can notice the thoughts that you're thinking about that trigger your nervous system and causes a physical reaction in your body, you can also reverse that. So I lightened up on my thoughts and I was like, whoa, so if I were to say, oh, well, I don't love slumber parties anyway. I go to bed so early and then I'm up early and I'm like everybody else is up late and they sleep in late and it just isn't a good space for me. So I hope they have a good time. When you can come up with a thought that's lighter than the first story you told, stop and wait. And I was like, oh my gosh, no heart thump, no pain? I must be getting closer to telling a true story than a victim story. The victim stories hurt the worst. A truer story doesn't manifest as pain in your body. And so what that does is it just frees you up to hear the inclinations, the intuitive clarity that comes for you. You know, if you're praying, but you're so busy about controlling who said what, and you're revisiting an argument you had last night, and things are all crazy up in your brain, you're not going to hear answers to what you're asking for in your prayers. You're just not going to hear them. Because you're just busy, never mind, I got this, I'll do it myself. But if you can find a way, just tap right here, find a way to remind yourself you're not that little child in the past. You're not back there anymore. Little you's not lost anymore. You can just take her, tuck her under your wing right here. It's like, yep, those hard thoughts are all about fear. They're just embedded in fear, and they cause us emotional upheaval in the body. And we're not going to do that because it's not good for us. This is what you would tell your little child in real life, right? And you're just telling your inner child, we're safe, all is well. We're not going to get crazy up in the brain. We're going to simmer down and settle in and be right here in this moment, right now. And when you do that, you'll be able to hear the answers. I like to say that your answers come from here, and they're like, whoop. They just like coming this way. Right? If you ask yourself, why am I so good at finding solutions to the problems of the day? More specifically, obviously. I find that the because starts down here in the diaphragm, and the because, and it comes up to your brain. It's not the other way around. Your brain's not like, well, I guess I'm not very good at solving, or I would have solved it by now. Your brain is going to tell you the negative thing. So if the negative thing is coming up, it's your brain. Your intuition, however, comes from lower. It comes from your knowingness. And in that knowingness space, it comes up and is like, because, and then it comes out your mouth. Your brain's like, hey, wow. That was cool. That was, yep, spot on. Like that answer. But it's because your body knows. The wisdom of your infinite intelligence is in the body. And where's the nervous system? It's in the body. It starts in the head, but it goes through your entire body. And hormones are being pushed out to every cell saying, we're safe, we're kind of safe, we're not safe, this is super dangerous, beware, run, fight, all the messages are going through your body, and your body is going to respond to it. It can react by getting angry, it can react by feeling sad, it can isolate, it can phone a friend. Your body will know what to do. If you have anxiety, and if your brain is telling you that anxious story more often than not, your body might shut down. It's like, I'm not eating. I can't eat. Or you might find yourself eliminating and evacuating completely, where you just turn into a faucet. You're just pure liquid. Those are all your body's indications that it doesn't feel safe. And if your body doesn't feel safe, we have work to do, because that is no way to live your life. So again, we have to tell a truer story, because the only story you're telling when all that is happening in the body is one that's not true. It's less true. It has the absence of love in it. It has something to do with when you were a child and the perceptions you had back then before your brain was fully developed. So it's thinking one thing that may or may not hold the essence of truth in it. Most likely not, because we were trusting our caregivers to tell us the truth about who we are. And if they told us you're lazy, you're sloppy, you're noisy, you're loud, you're too much, we receive some of those messages, what are we going to perceive it as? Lack of worth, lack of value, lack of love, lack of ability to be nurtured, cared for, and guided, right? If we have embodied a lack, that's survival, right? We're not thriving at that point, and we're bringing it into our current situation as if it was true. But back then, when those things were going on, you should have had a parent that gathered you up in their arms and said, sweetheart, that's not how we behave. Or, sweetheart, let me show you where to put your shoes so you can clean up. Or, sweetheart, let me show you how to recover from an argument or a disagreement with your sibling. Instead of shaming and, all the finger pointing and blaming, right? So we're correcting those behaviors now. We're bringing little you into the present moment and showing them this is how we handle life now. And the fact of the matter is, you're light and love. You're so much fun. You're just bright and shiny. You're intelligent and worthy and infinitely good. We're helping to parent that little child. And when you do that, she integrates into your life and your body just feels better. You know, when I finally realized I was in a codependent relationship with my first husband, it was right about that same time that my intuition said, let it go. You can't change him. You can't care more about his problems than he cares about them. You can't fix that. It's not yours. That's when I went on a fitness journey. And I actually lost 8 dress sizes in 6 months because I was practicing this energetic letting go of what I couldn't control Zilla, because he was the perfect match to the unlovable story I brought to our marriage. And if that didn't hold truth because I actually am lovable, then I went and practiced what lovable looks like. And I started pouring time and energy into myself first thing in the morning before the kids got up. I went outside. I got a little exercise in, had some me time, and things changed. Like all the heaviness that was sitting there in my body, overweight and unhappy and heavy, just left. It served its purpose. It served as a shield and a protection for me as long as I needed it. And when I didn't need it anymore, my body was like, whoo, we're ready to let go of that. So your body's just a machine, right? It'll only do what you tell it to do. If you're stressed all the time and you're overeating, you have coping strategies, and you're, doing things that are not good for your body, like storing trapped emotions, it's going to be like, okay, we're just hanging on for dear life. It's just been flapping in the wind while you've just been making all these controlling decisions in your life. But when the control stops and surrender happens, your body can finally give you all the clues, all the guidance, all of the answers to the test, if you will. And you will be home. You will feel more like yourself. You will have confidence, trust. The doubt dissipates. The fear is less. We're never not going to have fear. It's not all or nothing. But the fear that we do have is healthy fear. Keeps us safe for real, like physically safe. Or it helps us understand when we need to set boundaries, that sort of thing. But it's the fighting, flighting, freezing, and fawning that we've done to survive that no longer is needed. We're no longer that scared little 6-year-old in the past, or the 3-year-old that didn't have a mommy, or the 12-year-old that was abandoned, right? We don't have those pieces of us left in the past anymore, and we can start to integrate more fully into a healthy, happy, harmonious nervous system, which just improves the rest of our life. So I hope you gathered some nuggets. I hope there was some insight for you and that you could do a little self-introspection from the nuggets that you gained, because I'm trying to give you the answers to the test. And if you're listening, you will get better. That's just how it works. You're not broken. You're just improving and expanding every day. Thanks for watching.